Nice. Hey, Brodie, how's Tom List tracking at the moment, mate? Have you seen him this morning? Is he back around the club? Or?
No, I just got into the club, so I actually haven't seen anyone. But I seen him in text this morning. He's feeling pretty good, so hopefully he's around the club this week.
Yeah, okay. How much of a shock was it when you guys heard what he had, and obviously been in hospital for a couple of days last week?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, we just thought he was homesick, and then obviously got the news that it was a bit more serious than that. But thankfully, he's back home now, and yeah, like I said, hopefully here during the week, and feeling a lot better.
Brodie, have you found having to then replace him, because he's got a very particular role and very good at linking up your forwards? So how hard has it been to replace him?
Yeah, it was tough. He's obviously a leader of the group now as well, and plays a really important role across half forward. And you know, Mitch McGovern came back in, which is obviously a big plus for us. And you got you know, John O'Beach has come to the side and plays a similar role. So yeah, he's a really important player, hard to replace. But I think those guys played their role pretty well on the weekend.
Now you've got some thoughts about having to change the defence. What you're thinking there is how to sort that out with Hardigan not available.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not sure how bad he is, but obviously from the footage it looked pretty bad. So if he is to miss, Andy Otten's, you know, can play both ends of the ground and played well on the weekend. I think he played forward in the SANFL, but he's obviously very capable down back. So if that's Hardigan out, I'd imagine it'd be probably an Andy Otten to come in for him.
Do you know what actually happened there with Hardigan? Did he sort of do 2 hamstrings at once in a game?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've only seen the vision of the one who's right near the bench, which looked pretty bad, and he was pretty sore after the game as well. So yeah, we're not sure in terms of doing 2.
What's the protocol there when you sort of feel something like that, and obviously he felt it and then had 20 minutes or whatever, and then felt it pretty bad? What's the protocol with the trainers there?
Well, I guess it's just a case of trying to figure out how bad it is, and whether you take the risk of going back out there. And obviously it was pretty bad and came straight off. So I know for myself, a few weeks ago in Brisbane I had one, and you just go through the protocol of, you know, you do a few tests with the physio and the doctor, and they try and determine how bad they think it is. And then, but for myself, we're in a position where we were easily winning, so I was able to sit the last quarter out. But yeah, it's a pretty hard one to weigh up, whether you risk going back out there and trying to get through it, or whether it's just you've got to come off and you take no risk at all.
Brodie, it's an interesting year. Where do you see Adelaide? What's your view of where you are as a group?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Obviously, we started the year really well, and then we've been challenged a couple of times, and we've been disappointed where if it's when we have been challenged. And I guess on the weekend it was a bit of an ugly game, and we didn't get to play our style, but we were able to grind out the win, which was pleasing. But I guess in other games we haven't been able to do that. So it's something we'll keep working on and keep getting better at when the game's not on our terms, finding ways to win. So it was really good to do it on the weekend, but we need to do it more often.
So what's the difference between that first 6-week run, where it seemed like you'd do anything you wanted on a footy field, to what's happened in the past 8?
I'm not sure whether it's a matter of teams have looked a bit closely at us after our start. Obviously we're playing really well and top of the ladder, so I guess it's natural for teams to look at the way we're playing and try and find our deficiencies. And I guess since then, teams have really brought their defensive A game, and there's been numbers behind the ball when they've been able to slow us up. So when teams are doing that, we've got to find another way to win. And yeah, we did it on the weekend, but like I said, need to do it more often.
How much belief do you garner from the fact you managed to win ugly, like you said, and grind out a win, probably something you hadn't done previously? Yeah, it's a good confidence booster for us. Like I said, we haven't been able to do it, and the coaches have challenged us, and we've challenged ourselves to stand up in games where it's not going our way, and we're having that arm wrestle in games. And we definitely had that on the weekend. I think they got in front in the last quarter and were able to, you know, fight it back and grind out a win. So good confidence booster for us there, but we're still learning, trying to get better, and trying to get the game on our terms as quickly as possible. Doggies this week, good rivalry there, pretty healthy. There's a genuine dislike between the two clubs, isn't there?
Yeah, there has been a bit of a rivalry built over the last couple of years. Obviously, the finals game against each other, a close game, and a few other things that are going on. So there definitely is that 2 young groups that are playing good footy, and obviously the reigning premiers as well. So everyone wants to knock them off, and yeah, we seem to have good games against the Doggies. So I'm looking forward to getting a game against them over here, especially.
Brodie, is there a case to be made for blokes being sent off if they're going to throw left jabs at guys in the head? I mean, it's not really a workplace that football players should have to deal with, or anyone should have to deal with, unless you're a boxer.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. Obviously, you're talking about the bug incident. I guess, you know, it wasn't a great look, and I guess a bit unfair that Sydney are a man down after an incident like that. So, yeah, I guess it's something the AFL might want to look at. But, yeah, in terms of, you know, Sydney being down a man, I thought it was a bit unfair considering the type of incident it was.
What's the players' take on when something like that does happen? What's the reaction of the playing group if it was one of your men?
I'd be very similar to Sydney. They obviously weren't happy with what happened. But I guess now, like it happened in that game, they retaliated and the free kick got reversed. So you can't really do too much on the field now. It's obviously they weren't happy with what happened. But yeah, you can't have a lot of retaliation because it just ends up hurting the team again. So.
Brodie, to go back to how things have changed, you say the numbers behind the ball. What are you working through on dealing with those extra numbers in defence?
So we just, you know, obviously our ball movement, we can't move the ball as quick if they're setting up behind the ball. You know, last year I think especially we got a lot of goals over the back, and teams are sort of finding ways to stop that now. So we've got to find other avenues to go, and you know, whether that's working our way through with short kicks and lowering our eyes and hitting those lead ups. So guys like we spoke about before, Tom Lynch sort of role where he hits up really well at the footy. So we've got a few things we're working on to try and move the ball forward when we're slowed down, and we'll continue to work on that and get better.
Was that the best game you've seen Josh Jenkins play this year?
Defensive wise, definitely. You know, something he got challenged with at the start of the year was his defensive efforts, and then to come out and have 13 tackles was unbelievable. And then he kicks that massive goal at the end of the game as well, really stood up when the game was on the line. So, yeah, real confidence booster for JJ.
How does it open up the forward line when he's fit and firing like he was last year, but hasn't been so much this year? Yeah,
big time. I'd imagine he'd be a really hard matchup. He's, you know, 200 centimetres, but he runs like he's a medium forward, and he's got that big body strength as well. So for him to be able to, you know, get up the ground, apply forward pressure, and then kick bombs like that from 60 is, I imagine, a nightmare for oppositions when he's up and going.
Brodie, sorry if it's a bit too sensitive, but what do you make when you wake up on a day like today? I mean, it's a pretty significant day for the club and for the playing group. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, obviously Walshy's anniversary 2 years ago today. So yeah, an emotional day. You know, we'll never forget what he did for us in the short time he was here, and how much he cared for all the players in this footy club, and he really set this group of players up to achieve something, and yeah, we'll definitely continue to try and honour what he started here.
Do you get together and get around each other, and even if you have a lunch or a coffee, and sort of share a fond memory or two?
Yeah, we're just starting today, so we'll have we've got a couple of team meetings today and a training session. So no doubt there'll be mention of it, and we'll get together and have a chat about it for sure.
How does that legacy live on?
I think just the care and what he showed for the players, and just how much he wanted to win and how much he loved the game really rubbed off on us all. And you know, he just really started something in this group, and a strong culture, and you know, that started with Tech's example being captain, and the way he's attacked that and took it in his stride. And you know, we all look up to him and take a lot from what Walshy left us.
All good, guys. Thank you. Thanks, Brodie.
Nice. Thank you.